Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling this huge League of Legends patch 25.05.
Yep.
It's a big one. Lots of changes, especially with Arena coming back.
Yeah, lots to unpack.
We've got all the detailed patch notes here. We're going to going over them, trying to pull out the most impactful changes for you guys. So let's see. Whether you're a casual player or you're an aspiring pro, get ready for some serious shakeups. We're talking about eliminating lane swapping in pro play,
Yep.
a Noxian-themed arena mode with a completely new progression system,
Wow.
and some very exciting changes to champion acquisition and skins.
Yeah, this is a big patch.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge for me.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is actually the start of Act 2.
Oh, that's right.
And we have the first stand tournament coming up.
So-
So the stakes are high for everyone, especially the pros.
Totally. So to kind of understand the impact of these changes, like let's start with lane swapping. Lane swapping has been a big deal in pro play, right? Can you break that down for us, like what it is and why Riot's trying to eliminate it?
Yeah, so basically lane swapping is when teams will intentionally switch lanes early in the game,
Okay.
often creating uneven matchups like a 2 versus 1 lane.
Oh, I see.
Teams do this to kind of manipulate the gold and experience games.
Okay.
But it ended up making some champions almost unplayable at a professional level.
Right.
It also made matches less exciting to watch because it's kind of like watching a game where one side is already doomed from the start.
Yeah, exactly. So how are they actually trying to stop this?
So they've introduced some pretty heavy penalties for lane swaps that happen between 1 minute 30 seconds and 3 minutes 30 seconds.
Okay.
Into the game. So we're talking income reductions, defensive buffs for the defending champion, and even damage reduction for the defending turret. It's a pretty aggressive approach to make those swaps way too risky.
So they're making it financially and strategically not a good idea.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is just for pro play though, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't have to worry about this as a casual player?
Yeah, exactly. If you're just playing a normal match, you're unlikely to even trigger these rules, unless you're part of the tiny percentage of people who run a double top lane strategy. But, Riot's trying to just kind of address the pro scene concerns without disrupting the way that everyone else enjoys the game.
Makes sense. Now, sticking with pro play for a second, there's a bunch of champion updates too. It seems like a lot of these are also targeted at shaking up the pro meta a little bit.
Definitely. Ambessa, Cassante, Aurora, and Skarner have been dominating pro play, so they're all getting nerfs to either their damage or their key abilities. Ashe and Elise are getting toned down a bit. They were kind of over-buffed last patch.
Okay.
And Poppy, well, they're shifting her power away from support.
Interesting.
So that might change things up in the bot lane.
Okay. And I saw a change that specifically mentioned high-speed mid-lane Cho'Gath. Now that sounds like a fun one. What's the deal with that and how are they nerfing it?
Yeah, that's become a really popular strategy. It basically involves rushing movement speed items on Cho'Gath, so you can quickly roam and gank other lanes.
Oh, I see.
Riot's trying to curb this by reducing the burst damage on his Q and W abilities,
Okay.
which should make him less effective at those quick ganks. They're also making his E more reliant on ability ranks,
Okay.
which impacts his burst potential, but without completely gutting his tank build.
Gotcha. So they're not trying to destroy Cho'Gath, just make him less of a speed demon.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that they're addressing like specific strategies like that.
Yeah, it's a surgical approach.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to, I think what a lot of people have been talking about, the changes to champion acquisition and the reward system.
Yes.
Riot has really shaken things up here.
It seems like players have been saying the game feels a little less rewarding lately, and it really seems like Riot has taken that feedback to heart. There are concerns about grinding for champions, the rarity of Hextech Chests, and even the value of the free Battle Pass skin.
Okay.
So they're trying to address all of that with this patch.
It seems like they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this problem.
Okay.
So let's break it down. First up, Hextech Chests are getting a lot more common, right?
Absolutely. So you'll get 8 on the free Battle Pass track.
Right.
And another 2 if you maintain good honor.
Oh, okay.
So that means you could potentially be getting up to like 60 chests a year?
60 chests a year?
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, but the biggest change has to be the champion costs, right?
Right. They're slashing champion costs in half across the board.
Wow, that's huge. I remember when I first started playing, it felt like it took forever to save up enough blue essence for a new champion. This is going to be a game changer for so many people. What about the Battle Pass? Any changes there?
Yeah, so the paid Battle Pass is getting a boost in Mythic Essence.
Okay.
You'll get 25 Mythic Essence in total. which you can use to unlock those sweet prestige skins.
So tying it all together, it seems like Riot's really trying to make the game more accessible and rewarding for everyone, not just the hardcore grinders or those who spend a lot of money.
Hmm.
They're giving you more ways to earn champions, skins, other goodies. That's pretty awesome.
It definitely shows a shift in their philosophy, I think. Like they're recognizing that, that old system was frustrating for a lot of players, and they're taking steps to make the game feel more generous.
And they're not stopping there. There's some other exciting changes coming down the pipeline. We're talking about the return of Clash, your shop, and the Blue Essence Emporium.
Yeah.
These are fan-favorite features that people have been asking for. So the return of these is definitely going to be celebrated.
It's interesting how they're bringing back these older features alongside the new changes. It's like they're trying to find a balance between innovation and nostalgia.
Yeah, it's smart. It shows that they're listening to the community and they're willing to bring back things that worked well in the past.
Yeah.
However, there are a couple of delays we should mention. The San Yuzol Mordekaiser Exalted skin is being pushed back,
Oh, right.
and they're taking some extra time to improve the quality of future Battle Pass skins.
Which is actually a good sign, right?
Yeah.
It shows they're prioritizing quality over rushing things out the door.
Yeah,
They're willing to delay content to make sure it meets, their standards and player expectations.
I'd rather have a high-quality skin that's a little bit late
Exactly.
than a rushed one that looks terrible.
Hmm.
Speaking of skins, let's take a closer look at what the Act 2 Battle Pass has to offer.
All right, so we've got some sweet skins for Talon, Scion, Alistair, and Rel, along with more blue essence at various levels and those bonus Hextech chests and keys. And for those who reach level 50, there's the prestigious Triumphant General Darius skin waiting for you.
Okay, but I have to ask about something I saw in the FAQs. It mentioned that the Alistair and Rel skins might change. What's the story there?
Oh yeah, so it seems they weren't entirely satisfied with the Alistair skin, so it might be replaced with something else later on.
Okay.
But don't worry, Rel fans, her skin will still be available for purchase in the shop for 975 RP.
That's good to know. And just to clear up any confusion, Champion Shard disenchant values are not changing, even with the Champion cost reduction. So all your hard-earned shards are safe.
They've clearly thought about the potential impact of these changes and are trying to address any concerns players might have. It's a pretty comprehensive approach to revamping the reward system.
Okay, so we've covered pro play, we've covered champion acquisition, but now let's dive into the main event,
Oh,
the return of Arena. And this time, it's got a Noxian theme and a completely new progression system.
yes. So they're calling it Arena Fame,
Okay.
and it's a really interesting way to track your progress and unlock rewards. So instead of the old ranked system, Arena is all about earning fame by playing matches, winning, trying out new champions, and basically just having fun.
Okay.
They're really leaning into the casual for fun aspect of this mode.
So how do you rack up this fame? Is it just about winning matches?
Winning certainly helps, but you get fame for every round you play, with a bonus for playing with friends.
Okay.
You also get a nice chunk of fame the first time you play and win with the champion.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually really great because it encourages you to branch out and try new picks.
I like that. It sounds like they're rewarding you for experimenting and having fun, not just like winning.
Yeah.
And they're also adding these new bravery and crowd favorite options in Champ Select, right?
Yeah.
What are those all about?
So Bravery lets you lock in a random champion,
Okay.
and you get bonus stats and rerolls for, being brave.
I like that.
Crowd Favorite gives you a selection of champions who are like popular in Arena, and you get bonus stat anvils for choosing them.
Okay, hold on. What are stat anvils?
Ah, right. Stat anvils are basically like little power-ups you can apply to your champion
Gotcha.
in Arena to boost their stats. Think of them as like mini items that kind of enhance your champion's strength.
Got it. So both of these options, the bravery and the crowd favorite, encourage players to try new champions and just add a bit more randomness to the game. I like that.
Exactly. It's all about promoting a more fun and diverse meta in Arena, where players are encouraged to step outside their comfort zones and try new things without the pressure of a ranked system. You get to explore different champions and builds without worrying about tanking your rank.
I love that. It sounds like they're really trying to make Arena a unique and exciting experience that's kind of separate from the core game. And what about rewards? What do you get for gaining fame?
So as you accumulate fame, you unlock new augments, which are basically like special abilities that can drastically change how your champion plays.
Okay.
Rerolls to help you find like the perfect augments and even upgrades to your matchup intro.
Oh,
It's like a little progression system within Arena that gives you something to work towards.
that sounds pretty cool. It gives you a sense of progression, even though it's not a ranked mode.
Yeah.
And I saw that the fame keeps accumulating even after you reach the highest level, right?
Exactly. Think of it as like a prestige system.
Okay.
It lets you show off your dedication to Arena and your mastery of the mode.
Okay, so we've got a new progression system, new champion select options, tons of rewards. Anything else we should know about this Noxian Arena takeover?
Well, remember the old cameo system?
Yeah.
They've replaced it with something even more exciting, guests of honor.
Guests of honor. That sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
So now each game of Arena will feature a group of guests of honor,
Okay.
basically famous Noxians or champions who show up during different rounds. Players vote on which guests they want,
Okay.
and the winning guest introduces a special rule that affects the rest of the game.
Wait, so each match will have a special rule based on, like, a popular champion. That's crazy. It's like having a celebrity guest star in your arena matches.
Yeah, and these guests don't just sit on the sidelines. They bring some serious game-changing mechanics to the table.
Okay, I need examples. Give me some of the coolest guest of honor rules.
All right. So, for example, Darius makes each team take 50 damage at the start of a round,
Ooh.
but then he heals the remaining team when someone is eliminated.
Oh.
It's like a high-risk, high-reward mechanic.
Ooh, that sounds intense.
That can lead to some really intense moments.
Oh, awesome.
Rel slashes the price of those prismatic anvils. Those are basically the super-powered versions of stat anvils.
Okay.
This can completely change a team's build path and create some really interesting strategic decisions.
That's awesome. So each guest adds a completely new layer of strategy to the game.
Exactly. They shake things up and force players to think on their feet. It's a really clever way to add variety and depth to arena matches.
Okay, so we've got Darius and Rel. Who else is on the guest list? This is getting me hyped.
Well, we got Vladimir, who gives everyone a bonus matching augment.
Oh, okay.
Swain, who lets you collect ravens to determine the tier of your future augment offerings. It's like a little mini game within Arena
Okay.
that can have a huge impact on your build.
Wow, these guests are really shaking things up. It's like they're mini game modes within Arena anymore.
Of course, it wouldn't be a Noxian party without Kled.
Right.
He grants you a spell to disrupt other combats,
Oh, wow.
while Shinzao gives you bonus stat anvils when your team's health gets low.
Okay.
They both add an element of chaos and unpredictability to the matches.
Chaos and unpredictability.
Yeah.
Sounds like my kind of party. This Noxian Arena is shaping up to be something truly special.
And there's even more. Briar increases round damage, but heals your team if you win while at risk of elimination.
Interesting.
And Mordekaiser sends a random player from each team into the Death Realm.
Okay, Mordekaiser sounds absolutely insane. Sending players to the Death Realm, that's next level.
And the list goes on. Mill adds extra hex gates to each combat, which are, portals that let you quickly reposition around the arena.
Okay.
Talon makes one champion on each team deal more damage, but grants extra gold when slain, creating a high-stakes target.
Oh.
Sinan speeds up the Ring of Fire, which is the, shrinking circle of death that forces players closer together, making for a much faster and more aggressive game. And Samira empowers players with extra juices, which are basically temporary power-ups that can turn the tide of battle.
Whoa. It sounds like they really thought about how to make each guest feel unique and impactful.
Yeah. They even have Elise, who replaces revives with cocoons
Okay.
that allies have to break. So instead of just coming back to life, you have to rely on your teammates to free you from your cocoon.
That's brilliant. It adds a whole new layer of teamwork and strategy to the revives. I love how they're weaving these Noxian themes into the gameplay.
And then there's Trundle, who locks legendary items but keeps legendary anvils available. So this forces players to focus on building their champions with stat anvils. Instead of relying on those, powerful late-game items, it's a really interesting twist that can lead to some very different builds.
Wow, they've really outdone themselves with these guests of honor.
Yeah.
It sounds like they've carefully considered how each champion's theme and abilities could be translated into, like, unique game mechanics. It's going to add so much depth and variety to Arena.
And to top it all off, they even included Riven as a special guest, although she doesn't change any rules.
Okay.
It seems like they really wanted to pack this roster with, fan favorite champions.
I bet Riven mains are going to be thrilled. It's awesome that they included her, even if she doesn't have a specific rule. It shows that they're paying attention to what players want to see.
Absolutely. And it's not just the guests of honor that are getting an update.
Okay.
They've also made some changes to the arena maps. Remember the Koi Pond map?
Oh, yeah. The one with all the little islands?
Yeah.
I remember getting trapped on those islands a few times.
Yep.
And feeling completely helpless. Did they fix that?
They did. They've added pathways between the islands to prevent players from getting stuck.
Okay.
Which should make the map feel much more balanced and less frustrating.
That's a welcome change.
Yeah.
It always felt unfair to lose a round because you spawned on an island with no way to escape.
Yeah.
Now you can actually outplay your opponents rather than just getting unlucky with the spawn.
Exactly. And that's not all. They've also added a brand new map with destructible pillars.
Destructible pillars. Now that sounds interesting. Tell me more.
So you can actually attack these pillars to knock them over,
Okay.
creating walls to block pathways and control the flow of combat. It's a really cool addition that adds a new layer of strategy and interactivity to the arena environment.
Wait, so you can use the environment to your advantage. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I can already imagine the epic plays that will be made with these destructible pillars.
And if you manage to hit an enemy with a falling pillar, let's just say it won't be pretty for them. It's a high-risk, high-reward move that can turn the tide of battle.
This is amazing. I love how they're experimenting with new mechanics and really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in Arena. It's like they're taking everything they've learned from the core game and applying it to this, like, more experimental mode.
It's a really exciting time to be an Arena player.
Yes.
They're clearly putting a lot of effort into making it a unique and engaging experience.
Now, this next detail might seem small, but I think it's really important. They've added an arachnophobia option.
Yes. Now, players with arachnophobia can toggle the hide-eye candy setting to remove all the spider visual associated with Elise's guest of honor appearance. It's a great example of how, even seemingly small changes can make a big difference for certain players.
Totally. It shows that they're paying attention to the needs of a diverse player base, and they want to make sure everyone feels comfortable playing the game. And it's not just about, arachnophobia. It sets a precedent for accessibility and inclusivity.
Right.
Which is great to see.
Right. Absolutely. It's a small change that speaks volumes about their commitment to creating a welcoming and inclusive gaming environment.
Okay. So we've covered a ton of information about Arena already, but there's even more. We've got quality of life improvements like champion mastery progression in Arena, 25 new augments to spice things up, and a change from bulk rerolls to individual rerolls for those stat anvils.
They've also squashed a ton of bugs, including some that were, significantly impacting gameplay. It's clear that they're dedicated to making Arena the best it can be.
And to round things out, let's take a quick peek at the Mythic Shop turnover.
All right.
Always exciting to see what new goodies they've added.
This time around, we have some stunning new additions.
Ooh, I'm always up for some new skins and icons. What are the highlights?
Well, I've got Kostalos Monos Kha'Zix, Hextech Ziggs, Prestige Porcelain Lux, Prestige Cyber Halo Janna.
Hold on. Prestige Cyber Halo Janna.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible. I'm definitely going to have to check that one out.
And there's more. Prestige Empyrean Cassante, Prestige Pulsefire Thresh, Odyssey Kha'Zix in the Merc Chroma, Dark Star Thresh in the Antimatter Chroma, Soulfighter Lux in the Limitless Chroma.
Wait, Soulfighter Lux in the Limitless Chroma. Are you serious? That's amazing. They really went all out with the chromas this time.
And if that wasn't enough, we also have Cyber Halo Janna in the Ace Chroma.
Okay.
And Empyrean Cassante in the Neon Flare Chroma.
Wow, this Mythic Shop update is a collector's dream come true.
It is.
I can't wait to see all these new skins in-game.
And don't forget about the icons. We have the Project, Reckoning icon, the High Noon 2019 icon, the Spirit Blossom 2020 icon, the Psyops icon, the Battle Queens Event Pass icon.
Okay, you've convinced me. I need to check out the Mythic Shop ASAP.
Yes.
There are so many awesome new items to collect.
And let's not forget the emotes.
Oh yeah, emotes.
We have Lavish Brutality, Maniacal Contemplation, and the 2021 Hextech Award.
So much cool stuff. This Mythic Shop update really does have something for everyone. It's the perfect way to round out this massive patch.
It seems like Riot has really outdone themselves with patch 25.05.
Yeah.
From pro play changes to a completely revamped arena mode and an overflowing Mythic Shop, there's something for everyone to be excited about.
It's clear that they've been listening to the community and they're really trying to make League of Legends a more rewarding and engaging experience. But what do you think about all of this?
Well, I think it's a really bold step in the right direction. They're addressing some long-standing concerns, and
Yeah.
they're really pushing the boundaries with Arena.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see how these changes play out in the long term.
Totally. We've covered a lot of ground, but this is just the beginning.
Exactly. And in part two, we'll delve deeper into the implications of these changes
Okay.
and discuss what they mean for the future of League of Legends.
Sounds good.
So stick around. We'll be back in a moment.
All right. See you in part 2.
So we've seen the highlights of patch 25.05, but what does it all really mean for League of Legends? It feels like more than just a bunch of changes. It's a statement about where Riot wants to take the game.
Yeah, like they're trying to fix pro play, getting stale, make earning champions less grindy, and turn Arena into like something truly special. But are these changes actually enough to achieve all that?
It's ambitious for sure. We have this huge lane swap crackdown, a complete overhaul of the reward system, and Arena's basically been turned upside down with this Noxian makeover. Each of these changes raises a lot of questions, I think.
Totally. Will pro teams find loopholes in the new lane swap rules? Is showering everyone with Hextech Chests going to make skins less valuable?
Yeah.
And will a fame system, even one as cool as this, keep Arena players hooked for the long haul? It's almost like Riot's running a giant experiment and we're all part of it.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting, right? We're seeing Riot acknowledge some past mistakes, be transparent about their goals, and actively involve the community in the evolution of the game.
Okay, but some folks are skeptical. They see this patch as a Band-Aid solution, like throwing a bunch of changes at the wall and seeing what sticks. What do you think about that viewpoint?
Well, there's always a risk of overcorrection, right?
Right.
What if the new lane swap rules make certain champs totally unplayable in pro matches? Or what if Arena becomes too chaotic with all these guests of honor running around? I think we have to watch carefully to see how it all plays out.
Right. The meta is a constantly shifting thing. But honestly, even if some of these changes don't work out perfectly, it's refreshing to see Riot taking risks, trying new things, and actually listening to player feedback.
Yeah.
It feels like they're really trying to make League more rewarding for everyone, not just the pros or the whales.
And speaking of rewards, let's talk about those changes in more depth. Slashing champion costs in half is huge, especially for newer players.
Right. It removes a significant barrier to entry and allows players to experiment with more champions without feeling like they have to, grind forever.
Yeah.
This could lead to more diverse team compositions.
Right. And make the game more enjoyable for everyone involved.
Exactly. And the increased availability of Hextech chests through the Battle Pass and Good Honor could really shake up the in-game economy.
What do you think the impact will be on skin values?
That's a great question. It's possible that the increased supply of chests could lead to a decrease in the rarity and value of certain skins. We might even see a shift in how players perceive and prioritize skin ownership. It'll be fascinating to observe how the market adjusts.
Yeah. It really feels like they're shifting away from the old grind or pay model and making the game more accessible to everyone, regardless of how much time or money they can invest. But what about the argument that these changes might devalue the accomplishments of players who grinded for champions and skins in the past?
I think that's a valid concern. However, I think it's important to remember that games are constantly evolving. What might have been a significant achievement a few years ago might not hold the same weight today. The goal is to make the game as enjoyable as possible for the widest audience.
And sometimes that means making adjustments that might not please everyone.
Right. It's about finding that balance between, rewarding dedication and making the game accessible to newcomers. It's a tough line to walk. Now, shifting gears back to Arena, I'm really curious to see how these changes impact the mode in the long run. The Guests of Honor sounds super fun, but will they get old after a while? And will the fame system be enough to keep players engaged?
Yeah, those are the key questions. I think the novelty of the Guests of Honor will likely fade over time, but it's the strategic depth they add that's crucial, right? They introduce unpredictable elements that force players to adapt and think on their feet, and that can lead to some truly memorable and exciting moments.
Right. It's not just about the spectacle. It's about how those mechanics actually change the way you approach each match. You're constantly having to adjust your strategy based on the Guest of Honor and the unique rules they bring to the table. It's like playing a slightly different version of Arena every time.
Exactly. And that unpredictability could be what keeps Arena engaging over time. As for the fame system, I think it has potential. It taps into that, inherent desire for progression and recognition that, many gamers have, even in a casual setting.
It's like they're saying, hey, you might not be playing for rank, but we still want to acknowledge your accomplishments and dedication to the mode, right?
Yeah.
And the rewards you unlock along the way, like the augments and the rerolls, give you tangible benefits that like enhance your gameplay experience.
Absolutely. It's a positive feedback loop. You play, you gain fame, you unlock rewards that make you want to play more. And the fact that fame continues to accumulate even after you hit the highest level gives players a reason to keep coming back.
Yeah, it's like a prestige system for Arena, which is a cool touch. I think the combination of the fame system, the guests of honor, and the new maps
Hmm.
could be the recipe for like a truly successful and long-lasting game mode.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But, the early signs are promising. Riot seems to be taking a much more proactive and experimental approach with Arena, which is exciting to see.
Yeah, they're taking risks, they're innovating, and they're listening to player feedback. It's a good sign for the future of the mode and for League in general.
Couldn't agree more. And it's not just the big changes that are worth noting. We also have those quality of life improvements like champion mastery progression in Arena and the arachnophobia option.
Right. Those might seem minor in comparison to, the lane swap crackdown or the arena revamp, but they show that Riot is paying attention to the details and are trying to make the game more inclusive and accessible to everyone.
Exactly. The arachnophobia option in particular is a great example of how a small change can have a huge impact on a particular group of players. It shows that they're thinking about the needs of a diverse player base and are willing to go the extra mile to make the game enjoyable for everyone.
It's those little touches that really make a difference. It shows that they're not just focused on the big, flashy changes, but also on making the game better for everyone, regardless of their playstyle or individual needs.
And that's a really important message to send, especially in a game as large and diverse as League of Legends.
So, to summarize, patch 25.05 is more than just a collection of updates. It's a statement about Riot's vision for the future of League. They're striving for a more rewarding, accessible, and inclusive game that caters to a wider audience.
And while there are certainly challenges ahead and we might see some bumps along the way, it's exciting to see them taking such bold steps and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And what do you think, dear listener? What excites you most about this patch? What are your biggest hopes and concerns?
Share your thoughts with us on our social media or join the discussion on our Discord server. We're eager to hear your perspective.
Because at the end of the day, League of Legends is more than just a game. It's a community.
And it's that community that will ultimately shape the future of the game.
So let's keep the conversation going. But for now, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up our deep dive with some final thoughts and predictions for the future of League. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into League of Legends patch 25.05. We've talked about a ton of changes.
Yeah.
Now it's time to, look ahead and consider the long-term impact of this patch. What kind of future is Riot building for League?
That's the big question, isn't it? I think this patch really sets the stage for some major shifts in the League landscape. It'll be fascinating to see how these changes play out, particularly in pro play and arena.
Yeah, let's start with pro play. The lane swap crackdown is a huge deal. Do you think it'll actually achieve its goals of making matches more dynamic and exciting for viewers?
It's hard to say for sure, but I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
By eliminating the predictability of lane swaps, teams will be forced to adapt and come up with new strategies. We could see a resurgence of champions who were previously sidelined because they just couldn't handle the 2 versus 1 lane matchups.
Right.
And that could lead to a more diverse and exciting meta for both players and viewers.
I love that idea. It would be so cool to see a wider range of champions and strategies being utilized at the highest level of play. It would inject some much-needed freshness into the pro scene for sure. But what about the potential for, unintended consequences? Do you think there's a risk that these new rules could make certain champions completely unviable in pro play?
There's always that risk when you make such significant changes.
Okay.
It's possible that some champions who rely heavily on lane swaps to succeed will struggle to find a place in the new meta.
Right.
But that's also part of the excitement, right?
Yeah.
It's like a giant game of chess
Totally.
where everyone is trying to figure out the optimal strategies and counter strategies.
It's going to be fascinating to watch the pro scene evolve in response to these changes. The whole new era of Pro League is beginning. And speaking of new eras, let's talk about the potential impact of the reward system changes on the average player. With champion costs being cut in half, we could see a significant increase in experimentation and diversity in Champion Select.
Right.
Players will be more willing to try out new champions and roles without feeling like they're investing a ton of time and resources. This could lead to a more dynamic and less predictable gameplay experience for everyone.
Definitely.
Right? It's like instead of seeing the same handful of overpowered champions in every match,
Yeah.
we might actually get some variety. I can't wait to see how this changes the way people approach the game. And with the influx of Hextech chests, do you think we'll see a decrease in the value and prestige associated with owning certain skins?
It's definitely a possibility as skins become more readily available through chests. Their perceived rarity and value might diminish. But I think it's important to remember that there will always be a market for rare and exclusive items in games. Even if some skins become more common, there will always be those highly sought after skins that, maintain their value and prestige.
Good point. It's like the difference between owning a limited edition print
Exactly.
and a mass-produced poster.
Yeah.
One is inherently more valuable because of its scarcity.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Arena. Do you think this Noxian-themed revamp has the potential to finally make Arena a truly successful and enduring game mode?
I think it has all the right ingredients. The new fame system provides a sense of progression and accomplishment, even in a casual setting. The guests of honor add, unpredictability and strategic depth, ensuring that no two matches feel exactly alike. And the new maps, especially the one with the destructible pillars, offer fresh and exciting gameplay experiences. It's like they've taken everything that was good about the old Arena mode and amplified it tenfold.
I'm with you on that. I'm genuinely excited to see how Arena evolves with these changes. It feels like they've finally cracked the code and created a mode that has the potential to rival the core game in terms of popularity and longevity.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how the player base responds. Will this be the update that finally convinces skeptical players to give Arena a chance?
Right.
Will it become a mainstay of the League of Legends experience? Only time will tell, but the early signs are promising.
Well, dear listener, as we wrap up this deep dive, we leave you with one final thought. What kind of League of Legends do you want to see in the future? What kind of player do you want to be?
Do you embrace the challenge of the new pro meta? Do you explore the uncharted territories of a revitalized Arena? The future of League is constantly evolving, and it's up to each of us to shape that future.
We've explored the changes, we've analyzed the implications, and now it's your turn to take that knowledge and apply it to your own League of Legends journey. So get out there, experiment, have fun, and most importantly, keep learning and growing as a player.
And never stop exploring the vast and ever-changing world of Runeterra.
Until next time, Summoners.